sweaty morning this morning. Not much moving around today. Things are tapering off a bit in the woods, and I'm kind of over it. I got to get my button gear, man. I'm so behind in a lot. But holy man, did I ever have an accident the other day. I bought 2 external hard drives. They got their own charge cables, plug-ins, everything. It was like $500 for 2 of them, and I was going to back up all my external drives, all my content with all the hunting, outdoor stuff, fishing. And I started to load that one. There's a considerable amount of stuff on there. It's literally brand new. It's not even a year old. And then all the recent stuff, like, oh my God, some of those bush plane trips this past year, basically everything from this past year, I had on that drive. And then I went to access it the other day, and the computer won't read it. I'm like, oh my God, no way. And I recall I dropped it in the hallway, but it wasn't a big drop. It was like a slight fumble, like knee height, ba-bunk. I guess that's all it takes for some of those things, eh? That really sucks. I spent some money on that thing. I think it would have been a little tougher than that. But that's a real big kick to the nuts. And so I guess I'm gonna have to take it in Vancouver City. There's a couple places there that advertise they can do recovery, and hopefully they can get some of that stuff back, because there's just some irreplaceable video content on there and photographs from this whole past year. Maybe not quite a year, but months. And but I bought 2 of them to intentionally swap over and have 2 backups, and I have a bunch of other external drives stacked up with a whole bunch of stuff on it, but still, it's just, I'm bitching about it. Now, what do we got? I'm going to read a handful of videos. What I'm trying to do is, there's so many freaking emails, you guys. I'm not complaining about it, because I'm one of those people too, right? I'm one of those people too that have seen these things and had that sentence to go through life wondering what the hell. And so I'm not going to stop, but what I'm going to try to do is I'm just going to try to get one out, at least one for each day of the month anyway, just for a little bit, just to get caught up, and then see what comes after that. And there's just so many people out there, and regardless of, I keep getting people notify me of comments on here, miserable people, angry people. A lot of people say my attitude kind of sucks sometimes. I'll tell you what, I'm doing pretty darn good. If you were on the receiving end of what I receive from random people saying they can't wait to see me dead. There's a gray jay bouncing around right in front of my face right here. Thinks I have a treat for him. I mean, there's people that say they can't wait to see me shot dead. There's people, I get absolute nasty, violent comments and insults often, a lot. And it's not my nature to ignore that stuff. I grew up with nasty, violent bullies, and it's just not my nature to be passive with those pricks. So if you catch me saying things on here, believe me, it's quite mild compared to what I could be doing. I'd like to see how you would react if you're on the receiving end of all that grief. I know, just ignore it, and then I get bitched at for not reading the comments, right? It says you can't win. I get bitched at, complained at for anything and everything. Too long of a video, too short of a video, babbling on too much, using the word shit. All sorts of goofy stuff. Look at this goofy little bird. Come here. Come over here. Somebody's fed up somewhere along the right route. But anyway, before I get babbling too much, let's see what we got here, all right? Dear Steve, my name is James Boggs. I live in Exchange, West Virginia. I'd like to share my thoughts on the subject of Bigfoot. For your listeners' benefit, this is only my conclusions. My experience started as a child when I awoke to find a large pair of red eyes looking at me inside my bedroom. I couldn't move or scream. Despite my terror, I went back to sleep. After high school, I joined the U.S. Army and served in the Gulf War. I saw many strange things, including a corpse split down one side with no bones/blood, but internal organs still present. No idea of the cause. That sounds pretty bizarre. Let me read that again so I get that straight. I saw many strange things, including a corpse split down one side with no bones, no blood, but internal organs still present. No idea of the cause. I can't even picture that. Split down the side with no bones. So you're talking like an empty pillowcase of a shell? with organs and a human being? A corpse. Just said a corpse. Maybe if you can, if I'm curious about that a little more. If you want to email me back with a little more details than that, I'm sure I'm not the only one too. Want to hear more about that? That sounds pretty alarming. I was eventually medically discharged. I eventually returned to West Virginia, where I began to study the whole paranormal. I have since seen many strange things. I've noticed many correlations of these things. It seems Bigfoot, orbs, UFOs, and phantoms go hand in hand. It also seems to me they occur around certain things. These include, but are not limited to, anxiety, anger, depression, drug and alcohol use, etc. These usually spill over, and other people in the area see them as a side effect. I believe they are supernatural in their origin. Many have noted that there are rules to the game. Therefore, there is a controlling mechanism, or being. Big feet scare you and you emit fear, but why? I can only guess. What if something wants you to be afraid, to fear, hate, and to live in terror? Surely this seems to be the agenda. What if this non-human intelligence has been in contact with our governments, are aware of it, and are seeking knowledge from it that they do not want us to know about? Why do politicians and the elite seem to torture kids? Why do the loudest among them seem to secretly worship ancient gods? I think you are right. Something big is coming. I hope it is good for men. I think you can read between the lines on what I believe the non-human intelligence is. As I've heard you speak of orbs, I am enclosing herewith a photo of one I took from my porch. You can share this if you wish, photo and email, because I really don't care what people think. I also saw this orb in spring, and the houses around this area have Bigfoot, Dogman, and other weird tracks show up around their homes since. The world is truly a strange place. Sincerely, James Boggs. Yep, that's definitely different. I'll try to include this photograph once I get back. Oh, my butt's freezing. I'm sitting on a lump of frozen, crusted snow. Yeah. You know what, for me, I was wondering about this today as I was trucking along up the mountain here. You know, there's so many people out there that demand proof, and they're looking for proof, and they want proof. The unfortunate thing is they've been conditioned to not believe their fellow man or woman in the community, which is sad. But if you look at what's going on today with the people who are in control, it's pretty obvious that lying is very, very prominent. Nobody trusts anybody, and there's no wonder why. Why not? But you got to wonder for all the people that are looking for evidence. Okay, let's say you feel you have enough evidence to accept the existence of these beings. Now what are you going to do with it? What are you after? What are you going to do with it? What is it that you need? I'd like to know what the majority of you out there need when it comes to this topic. Because right now, the need that I see and I'm catering to is the thousands of people. Oh, my butt's frozen. The thousands of people who have been discredited, the thousands of people who have been scared stiff, the thousands of people who... This little bird is not leaving me alone. Oh, he's going to land on the camera. Come here. There's two of them now. But anyway, these are gray jays, skipjacks. They normally do this all the time. It's in their nature. They're a very, very trusting bird. And a lot of people can hand feed them. It's what they do. But what is it that you need? What do you think it is you need when it comes to this topic? I'm curious. You know, I know what the people who have seen them need. They need their respect back. They need their lives back. They need to know that they're not insane. They need their families to respect them and their friends and their coworkers. That's what they need. And that's hopefully what's coming from me sharing their emails in this channel, right? Obviously, I was quite upset with the numerous outdoors people who are losing their outdoors. They cannot enjoy the outdoors, the real world, because of what they saw. Don't blame them. It can be tough out there, but I know what they need. But what is it that you people who have not seen these things need? That's something I don't quite understand. This topic affects people differently in many ways. From me and various others, it only opens your eyes and your mind to the fact that we're being lied to on multiple levels. It makes you dig deeper. The second you see one of things, the majority of society becomes, I've said it before, they become real dumb real fast. And that's just a polite way of putting it. And it's not their fault. We've let people control us. We've allowed individuals to become authorities in front of us and to look to them for answers when that's wrong. We're supposed to all be looking for answers on your own and thinking for yourself and independently. But anyway, yeah, I'm babbling. But I'd like to know what it is that the people out there who just want to see evidence, what are you going to do with it? After you become convinced, what are you going to do with it? Then what's the next step for you? That's what I'm curious about. As for you, sir, thank you very much for sending that email in. I'd love for you to email me back and explain to us a little more detail about that corpse split down the side with no bones but organs present. Was it a human being? Was like the skeleton is gone, is just an empty sack of flesh? I'd love to hear about that. And was it a burn mark? Was it a razor blade cut mark? You know, that'd be very interesting to find that one out. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff going on over in the Middle East, especially in Afghanistan. That red-headed giant that's been basically confirmed from one of the guys that was there and seen it. That's something amazing. I'd love to hear more detail about that, or even see pictures of that corpse after they whacked it, right? But there's a lot of things going on this planet in this lifetime that are kept from us. I've had some very intelligent people tell me various things about the government, who they answer to, and the possibilities of all North American governments are answering to someone else, and that comes direct from some very, very intelligent people. And it just opens up numerous rabbit holes. It gives you various options of topics to attack and commit to time to learn about and figure out what the hell is going on. So as far as I'm concerned, just the Sasquatch topic is one of the easiest ones. As far as I'm concerned, this is easy. There's DNA, there's film, there's video, there's tens of thousands of eyewitness reports. That's an easy one. It's the rest of the shit that's going on that's the tough stuff. Like the stuff that David Plies has slid from the Sasquatch thing, and he's moved up to whatever level it is from Sasquatch to what he's focused on now, right? And that's what I do. I like to watch the intelligent people who know far more than me, and I like to watch them and see what they are focusing on as they go on their journey, and see if I can learn that way, right? But anyway, let's see if I can get another one out here. Hey Steve, I've debated sending this in for a while, but I figured what the hell. It was around the fall of 2006, and I was living in northeast North Carolina on the edge of the Great Dismal Swamp. I was outside shortly after dark, and I heard an eerie, bone-chilling screeching sound and a lot of tree branches breaking. Big ones, coming from the woods, half an acre behind my house. The hair on the back of my neck instantly stood on end, and I had a feeling of imminent doom overcame my entire body. I always have a sidearm on me, and I'm well trained in its use, but I knew at that moment it would be absolutely useless to me. I knew what I needed to do, and that was to get inside quickly. It was like a nightmare. You know, one of those ones where you try to run, but you're simply paralyzed and can't? It seemed like it took hours to get inside the house. When I got inside, my wife, at the time, looked at me and asked me if I was okay because I was ghost white. I told her there was something enormous in the woods behind the house, screaming and breaking trees. She heard it from inside the house and thought it was just me messing around outside. Now, I know there are bears and wild boars in that area, and I've seen both on numerous occasions, but the biggest black bear I've seen was probably 300 pounds at best, and no way capable of breaking trees making the sound I heard. I went into the woods the next day to investigate, and I found several trees about 14 to 16 inches in diameter broken clean off, about 6 to 7 feet up the trunk. Needless to say, I avoided the tree line after dark from that day on. I never seen it, I never looked for it, and I don't even know for certain what it was, but I know it was big, powerful, and didn't like me being outside that night. I honestly don't know what it was, but I suspect that we already know. Keep up the good work, and thanks for listening. Tony. Thanks, Tony. You know what it was. After hearing all these emails, and your gut instincts, your intuition, your sixth sense already told you what it was. And you're probably correct about the pistol, the handgun, not being able to dummy it. But then again, you never know. You know, another thing to think about these beings, how they impose the terror, the dread feelings on us. That usually comes from something that's scared. All right. As an example, look at the typical bully that wants to be physically and intimidating presence. Deep down, those guys are typically scared shitless of something. It's their own issues, but they're scared. Okay, A grizzly bear. A grizzly bear, when it gets absolutely ferocious and years back and bluff charges us, it sees us as a threat. It's scared. It's scared of us. Okay? How many people do you know get absolutely angry when they're scared when it comes to human beings, right? You scare your wife or your husband or your friend or whatever, and they're like, Jesus Christ, and they get all pissed off at you because you scared the crap out of them. But it turns into anger. But what I'm getting at is, if these beings weren't scared of us, possibly, why do they impose such terror and dread on us if they're not scared of us? You know, there's a lot of real confusing things that go on with these beings. You know, the way they react, on average. You know, you see them, they can't get out of your sight fast enough and they run. But then again, those same beings will come and stalk you in the dark right up to the edge of your camp at nighttime and stand there and stare at you with confidence. It's such a contradicting action. You know, it's very confusing for me to try to figure out what's going on with these things. Because if you picture us doing the same as them, I mean, I'll pretty well guarantee you, if you're walking through the forest, let's say you're walking through the forest at nighttime by yourself, and all of a sudden you're in the timber, you see out in the clearing, and here's 4 or 5 Sasquatch sitting around in a circle. Do you really think that you were going to go creeping up to them on your belly to within 8 or 10 feet of them? Probably not, right? I know I wouldn't. I'd be turning around, running, crap my pants as I was doing it. It's kind of a weird contradicting thing, isn't it? Those beings will crawl on their bellies right up to us within 8 or 10 feet in the darkness, no matter how many people are sitting around that fire, with confidence. That's a lot of confidence. That's big time confidence. But that same being potentially, possibly, runs in broad daylight the second a pair of human eyeballs sits on it. That doesn't make sense. It's very contradicting, isn't it? That's why it's so confusing, and it's somewhat interesting to me. But reading all these emails is very, very interesting to me, and as long as it's bringing some kind of comfort to people, which it is, I'll keep doing it.